These are all the bits laid out, and the shaft does look pretty worn, as you can see. So that's good that I'm replacing this. I'm just going to leave gear, the fins don't look too bad on that, neither do the bits on the bike. And then I'll be getting the new seals of bits too. And then just keeping hold of these bits here when I reinstall it. And then looking at the cover, when I took it off I noticed that some of the bolts were quite loose, and I think that kind of shows because you can see there's a build-up of oil around here. So I'm just going to take my time and clean off these sections and then make sure that the seal where the gasket's going to go is just really, really clean if I can get it really. So another thing to mention, online it says that if you put a paper clip through this weep hole here, or something similar to a paper clip, you should be able to get about 38 mil. When I did this, when this was all still on the bike, the water pump in and the seals in, when I put the paper clip through, if you look the other side, where it comes up here, just through this hole, mine was stopping at about 30 mil. So about there, if you put that against the ruler, you can see it's at 30 mil there, 3 centimetres, which would indicate that while this was on my bike, that one of the seals that were in here had pushed too far the other way, which would actually block the weep hole, which would make sense, which is why I wasn't getting any coolant dripping through here. So that is something to be conscious of. It's a really good little tip. If you push it all the way through, you can see where when you put the first seal in, it should be all the way down to the bottom, and use a socket to push that in properly. And then once that's in, then the next seal you put flush with this surface, which creates a little gap in the middle where that hole is. So then when it's still on your bike, if you put your paper clip through, if you see if it goes roughly where then the shaft would come through, which is about there, then if you look against the ruler, then that is nearer the 4 centimetre mark, just short, about 38. So yeah, definitely a good check to do on your bike if you're worried that your water pump's gone, or if one of the seals has been dislodged in the system. And here are all my bits from motorwork. So I've got my gasket, the seal that goes where the water pump cover is, the new water pump shaft, and there should be 2 seals in there, one for the oil side and one for the coolant side. A couple of, well, I actually got 4, I didn't need 4, I only need 2 for the banjo fitting on the bottom of the bike when I put the new oil hose in, which I've also got here, and a new oil filter with all the correct washers for when I install that. I was just about to call up Motorworks and say I don't think this is the right seal, it's too thick, I couldn't get it in, and then I realised that that first bit that I peeled off, actually there's more in here. Right, I've cleaned the area of where the gasket goes. I've greased the gasket, popped that on, just made up some kind of little lugs really quickly with some cotton buds and some electrical tape, just because the 2 that are on the actual engine don't seem to hold the gasket in place that well. And because they're 20 odd pounds for this tiny little bit of kind of paper, I want to make sure I do this right. And you just want to make sure that this is facing the right way, or you won't get the cover on. That took much longer than I thought it would, but I've now got the clutch cover on, I've got all the bolts in to the right torque settings. I'm just going to put the starter motor bolts in and then the water pump cover afterwards. Okay, starter motor bolts are in, the water pump cover's on. I've just reconnected up the hoses with some new Jubilee clips. So a bit of a problem, I put the gear lever, the footrest back on, but as I was putting on the clutch cable, this bit snapped. So I've just ordered another one from Motorworks that should get delivered on Monday. Bit of a pain because I was hoping to take her out over the weekend. And where it's broken, it does look like someone's welded this before. I know you do have to be really careful when you're putting them on. Right, I've just finished putting in a new oil line using this bit of tubing that I bought. I connected it onto the old bit of metal kind of rod that came down and goes into the oil reservoir up here. I decided to route it around this side of the engine. I just thought it looked tidier. There might be a reason why some people haven't done that. I have kept it off the engine casing and the kind of swing arm area using cable ties. And it also doesn't actually touch the exhaust. There is a gap there. And then yeah, just secured it on the bottom using the banjo bolt. I think it's okay. We won't really know until I start her up, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.